Instagram Live right now. For
How many phones do you use for this?
I don't. I use one computer. Well, two computers. I have a Skype computer and I have a Wirecast computer.
Mm.
So, and I can share that with you.
Your whole setup?
Yeah. Bear with me just a moment here while we go live on Facebook, and then we'll be done going live places.
Funny, I'm a social media person, but like, even I don't even get to keep up with all the stuff that's coming out at this point in time. It's crazy.
Oh, it happens fast, for sure. All right, I know we're live on Periscope and YouTube right now.
What up, Periscope and YouTube?
They are in the house. I don't think we haven't had anybody show up yet. YouTube, I can't monitor at this point. Let's see here.
Yeah. Well, are you just starting up? Do you have subscribers yet, or are you still very small? Because I think they unlock more features as you get more subscribers.
I on Instagram I am small, but you can't do Instagram hasn't opened up their API. So you can't send a signal directly in. All right, we had an error with Facebook, so it took me an extra moment here.
No worries.
I think we're on now. When Instagram opens their API, that'll be beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to. I think they're gonna keep that nice and small because, like, they're trying to shut down the bots and the spammers of Instagram.
Yep.
Like, also they're throttling organic reach on Instagram pretty hardcore. And they're doing that because they're really pushing the advertising on Instagram, which is pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Is this on Todd.Bergen?
Todd.LIVE. It's the page, Todd.LIVE. All right, folks, I'm going to do a real soft introduction here. I've got AustinIuliano with me tonight, and we are live on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. I had a slight connection problem. Nice. We've got 3 people that have showed up on YouTube with us really quick, which is nice. We had a slight connection problem with Facebook tonight. I'm not sure why. But we are on, folks. Welcome to the program. It is, and it's LiveStreamLife, not LiveStreamLive. I changed the name this weekend because I think LiveStreamLife is a little more descriptive. We're before 10 episodes. I feel comfortable changing the name this early on. But I talk to live streamers and social media people about life in the business, life online, life in digital marketing, and that's what it's about. And I really like this hashtag, and I've been using it on Instagram a little bit, and it just made sense to kind of make it the brand name for this show. So without any further ado, let me bring in my friend and guest, AustinIuliano. Austin, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to have you back. I had you, just so people know, Austin was on my program, Divorce the Workforce podcast, back in, it was sometime last year. Or was it this year? It might have been this year.
It was this year, but it was like probably 9 or 10 months ago, I think, something like that. Almost a full year, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. And Austin came on Divorce the Workforce. We've also met in person. We were both at Summit Live. We got to hang out there as well. But Austin is a very clever person, and he is all over the place and has an amazing following on the channels that he chooses to create content on. Austin's been big on Snapchat. He's been big on Instagram. He's been huge on Musical.ly. And he's just very clever and creative, making a lot of zany, fun, sometimes corny videos that get a lot of laughs and get a lot of attention, a lot of shares and that sort of thing. Austin, what got you started doing that, my friend?
So 6 years ago, I started social media. 6 years ago, it was only really Facebook. And I'm a marketer first and foremost. So I've always been selling things online and just kind of connecting and building a community and all those fun things. I really started getting into just some of the sillier type content more recently because as you know, if you talk just about business all the time, it kind of gets repetitive unless you're like Gary Vaynerchuk. So I found Snapchat and I just started sharing silly content, silly stories, things that I knew would disappear. So therefore I was like, oh, I don't have to be professional. It's just people watching.
Right.
And that started doing really well. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And my marketer side behind me went, what can I do with this? And I just kept growing my audience, making outrageous things on Snapchat. Musically happened, and I went hard into that because there's just tremendous growth. Right now, Musically is at the stage where Instagram was when it first launched. You can grow really, really fast with not a ton of work. It's a very open marketplace. It's just very young, the demographic. So people don't think about it like, oh, I can't make money off of this. Why would I do it? And it's like, well, you couldn't make money off of Instagram. What was Instagram, like 3-4 years ago, something like that? I don't know. Time is flying. But if you put the time into it, you'll grow really, really fast. And I now live stream to over 1 million followers weekly through Lively.
Dude,
so
that's so awesome. Hey, real quick, I'm going to bring in your Musically. Now, while this is playing, you may, or you know what, I've never done this while I've had somebody, a guest on. So you may or may not hear this. You can let me know afterwards, but if you try to talk during it, you may just be talking while this is going. So let's give it a shot here. I'm going to try to find something fun. Should I? Okay, I found one. You're going to kill me that this is the first one, but I'm going to make this the first one because it's in the middle and it's just sticking out at me right now. Let me change the shots here. Okay, folks, here is one of Austin's good ones. And this looks more like an animated GIF than it does a video, but let's check it out.
Jessica! Monica! Jessica! Monica! Why are we screaming? I don't know! Jessica! Monica! Jessica! Monica! Why are we screaming? I don't know!
Okay, fun stuff. So what's with the wig? I don't know what was going. Now I couldn't hear that actually. So was there any audio to that one, or is that just kind of an animated GIF?
Well, so I don't actually have the whole thing open. I'm just watching it in my phone, so that way we don't get the feedback. I know what all of them say. So
okay, so the audience I think is getting the audio. It's just you and I may not, which is a shame. But let's look at a few more. Now you love to wear the suits.
I do, yes.
He likes shark suits.
Not suit. I just need
I have a shark.
my
I have
coffee.
a unicorn.
Not
I have a Little Mermaid.
I
Mario. And then I got a lot of masks that are like Vader and things like that. And I have a Waldo.
What's your favorite? Oh, wait a minute. Here's a Waldo. No, this looks like a Mario. Hold on. I'm going to bring this up.
He's Italian. He could be wearing pizza pants. Again, that's food, not clothes. Mario, he's a plumber. His ass crack.
I really like the shark because it's a little more masculine and like I can be like a little more aggressive and things like that. But the unicorn's pretty fun. It really makes people laugh.
Well, so it's all about your mood. So the unicorn, what's your mood when you're wearing the unicorn?
Magical.
Magical. What's your mood when you're wearing the shark?
Sharky.
Okay. Now, what is the reaction of people in play? Because I mean, I've seen you wearing this stuff in like down at the Santa Monica Pier, I think, and in Venice and around public pools. And so do people join in and have fun ever? Do they look at you and gawk? I mean, what's the reaction of the people that are around you when you do this stuff?
Everything. And that's the best part. So I learned early on that I really like awkward situations. I thrive in that sort of weird environment where people don't know how to react and like the attention is on me. So when I do the unicorn, more often than not, people just like get a big smile on their face and they're like, cool suit, bro. Because I mean, how often do you see a unicorn running around? And I'm 29 years old, 6 foot tall. I look kind of ridiculous in it. But I definitely get some like gawkers, and every once in a while I'll get some alpha guy who like is not secure in his masculinity and will like try and talk shit. And I'll just talk shit right back and like be like, do you really want to get beat up by a dude dressed up as a unicorn? That will go viral and not in your favor. So
Awesome.
But most of the time people are really good sports about it because like also I've learned that you can read people's energies, and like you don't mess with people who are definitely not into whatever you're doing. And if you're just playful and having fun, most people like laugh and have a good time and go along with it, you know?
Absolutely. Now, most of your success, I mean, you've been successful on multiple platforms, but musically by far has really been the one you've hit the hardest on. What do you attribute to your success on the Musically platform? Because, and I just want to preface it, most of us in social media, digital, whatever, live video, are not doing Musicallys. And I may be wrong on that most of us aren't, but a lot of us aren't. So, you know, what's the attraction of Musically to you, and what do you really attribute your success on that platform to?
Well, you already kind of stated it. Most marketers, most like adults are not on the platform. And that's kind of why I have success. Like, to be perfectly frank, I'm not anything special. I looked at the platform. I'm like, people are not on it, right? My competition on there is a bunch of 8-year-old kids, and the top performing people on there are like these small kids that are like kind of want to be Justin Bieber. And so they're like being like, ooh, I'm so attractive. And I'm like, I'm 30. I'm not going to do that. Right. So I looked at the market. I looked at my competition. I went, where is there a giant opening that I feel comfortable executing on and that I can bring something unique to? So that's kind of how the unicorn suit and all the suits got started, because I was like, I don't want to be a 30-year-old in there trying to be like super sexual to these songs with having a bunch of little kids watching me. That's just creepy and weird.
Right.
So I was like, what can I do? And I was like, well, I can act like a jackass and make myself laugh. And then people really liked it, because like what ended up happening is these kids, like at 8 years old, I don't know, Todd, if you remember being 8 years old, but when I was 8, I was insecure and I didn't know what to do and not confident and a whole bunch of other things. So like they're all like, oh my God, I wish I could do that. I'm like, why not? Go out there, have fun, you know, enjoy life. So like now I try and teach these kids to be a little more confident and like enjoy life and not take it too seriously, because you're 8, you have no obligations whatsoever. So my success came through because there's no competition. I'm a marketer, so I look at it from the perspective of like marketing, like how do I grow really, really fast? I'm a growth hacker, so I know the tactics of growing. Like, hey, you want to get followers? Follow a whole bunch of people and then unfollow the people who don't follow you back. Like stupid tactics that work on every single platform. So I'm doing all those things, and then, you know, I make really great content and it gets featured, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could imagine that a good portion of your Musically stuff gets featured. I'm not a Musically aficionado. I don't watch it that much, but I've watched yours, and it's clever, it's fun, it's unique. And, you know, to all the things that you said, you're in a pool where the competition is much different than on Instagram or Facebook or whatnot. And you definitely stick out on that platform, and you've learned to make really good, high quality, fun stuff that makes people laugh. And at the end of the day, that's what people want. I mean, they either want to be educated or they want to be entertained. They want to have a good time more often than not. I mean, I'm sure there's people that go on the internet looking for misery, but most of us are looking to have a laugh and see what's out there and, you know, participate in the fun of others. And you've definitely tapped into that with your type of communication.
Yeah. And actually, to build off of that, like from a business perspective too, Musically has been extremely helpful, because it's when you do something that's completely different, completely outside your wheelhouse, your brain has to fire different neurons and you have to build different patterns. And so doing the Musically and going strictly comedy, not trying to do the business, selling a product or a service, just going, how do I make the funniest 15-second skit that is original, that is interesting, that like grabs people's attention? It has allowed me to bring that to other mechanisms, like the business world. Like if you're going to make a YouTube video and you want to be educational, how do you bring the humor into it? How do you make skits? So I'm actually in the process of creating my baseline for my YouTube channel that I'm going to be building. And I did kind of the same approach. Like, YouTube, extremely crowded marketplace. It's been around for 10 years. To build there successfully, very hard. But one of my good friends from high school is a YouTube influencer. He has over 100,000 subscribers, and he's just absolutely crushing it. He has content that goes viral. And so I'm like talking to him about these things, and I'm looking at what he's doing. And the type of content he's producing is something called video essays. It's a style where they talk to the camera, they bring in supporting evidence, and it's really, really entertaining, which is weird because all of his video essays are around how to be a good filmmaker. And like one of them is like how to make an intro to a video. And he uses The Matrix, which is one of my favorite movies, as a fantastic like opening. And I don't know anything about film. And I watched every second of this and I was like, holy crap, this is so cool. And it was so funny and like educational. So I'm looking at my YouTube and I'm like, okay, what can I learn from Musical.ly, from Snapchat, from watching these other YouTubes, and how can I execute on it? So just writing the scripts from my YouTube, I'm like, I'm doing a video essay, but I'm bringing the humor in, I'm bringing the pop culture references and the comedy skits and all those other things that I've learned from like Musical.ly and Snapchat to a mechanism that is much more monetizable, that's much more geared towards the business perspective of things.
Yeah, interesting. Now, I almost feel like I shouldn't ask since you didn't shout out your friend who's got the channel, but you're welcome to shout out if people want to check him out.
Oh, yeah. His name is Patrick H. Willems, Willems. So good of content. Like, I cannot stress it enough. So
what, is that his name on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. Hey, Austin, real quick, I just want to do a shout out. We have Stephanie Charlie with me, or us. She watches a lot of the Todd.LIVE content. Thank you, Stephanie, for being with us. Jonathan Tripp, and I don't know who's with us and who's not with us anymore, but Jonathan Tripp joined us. Peter McDonald joined us. He said hi to you, Austin. He said sexy shark. So that must be something he's really enjoying. A buddy of mine down in Florida, Andy Schultz, he is... he's got a charter fishing boat type business, and he's had, I think he had, oh gosh, what's that country singer? I think he had Hank Williams Jr. on his boat not too long ago. I might be mistaken, but I think he does a little bit of live video. It might be just that the guests on his boat have done live video. And then finally we have Anthony Davis. Anybody else who's shown up without leaving a comment, I don't necessarily know you're here, so feel free to leave a comment. If you have any questions for Austin or want to say hi, feel free to leave it. Same with Periscope. I am monitoring Periscope as well. So, Austin, I met you at Summit. Oh, and there's Jose Gonzalez. He's got a channel as well. Hey, Jose, how you doing? I met you at Summit Live. One thing I wanted to ask you about, I didn't get to go to the Growth Summit LA or whatever that was. I think it was last weekend. Justin Wu's page had it come through. Did you get a chance to go to that?
I didn't. I was in Arizona, and I actually got to meet up with Peter McDonald in Arizona. I was there for a client, and then I took a mini vacation for like 3 days and shot up to Sedona, went mountain biking.
Nice.
So,
well, I think he said there's going to be another one in October, November. It looked amazing. I really wanted to go, but I think it was the last. Well, this weekend was actually that was just like 3 days ago, wasn't it? It was Saturday, I think, or was it the Saturday before?
It was.
Might have been.
It was this weekend. This last weekend.
Yeah, I just had other commitments, but it looked really good. Have you since Summit Live? Have you been doing any of the convention circuit at all?
Yeah, after Summit Live, I went up to CMO Summit in San Francisco, and I spoke up there,
nice,
which was fantastic. I have two more speaking engagements. Wait, let me get my train of thought going. I did another one called Today I'm Brave, which that wasn't business oriented. That was more sharing just my personal story of how I went from homeless, I almost committed suicide, to successful, live streamer, which was really cool because like I like sharing that story. And then I have another one coming up, another conference. It's called 1,000 Speakers Academy, and it's for how to become a really effective public speaker. And I'm going to be teaching a whole thing on like creating a marketing system for getting speaking gigs, which is super cool. And then I'm going to New York. I think I have something there. I love speaking at conferences. So yeah, to answer your question, a long-winded yes.
Well, you know what? And you're going to all these things and you're speaking. I'm just an attendee. I haven't gotten any speaking. And I also haven't tried to get any speaking gigs yet. And I'm also very small, so I doubt that I'm going to get them anytime in the near future. But there's one coming up called Vid Summit. I'd love to go to it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to pull the trigger on it. It's a lot of money, but there's a lot of good people that I know are going to be there. And I really like the networking aspect of the conferences. And when I was at Summit Live, I got to hang out with you and you and me and Ross Brand went to lunch. I think it was. Yeah. Got to hang out. We also, I think you were with us when we went. We had a big table with Mitch Jackson and a bunch of other people at a restaurant there. But you know, at Summit Live, I think the value was really in the hallway. But it's not just Summit Live; it's all of them. I think you know, you can go in and see the stage and see the speakers, and there's a lot of good stuff. But really, it's out in the hallway where you network and talk about, you know, things that are coming up and making friends and going to eat meals and all that. I mean, it's really, I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Oh, absolutely. I did a ton of conferences where I was just going for the hallway, but I found growth hacker marketer side of me. I found, like, if you go to a conference like Summit Live, there was maybe 1,000 people there. At most, you're going to be able to really effectively network with, say, 50 people. But if you get up on stage, instead of you having to go through the entire conference to network with 50 people, you got 150, 200, 300 people watching you. And so you get to talk, and you're now the expert, and you're kind of networking with all of them in the sense of you say what your value is, and then the people who like your value will come up to you and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this deal. I want to talk to you about, you know, this collaboration or whatever it might be. So, like, that's why I go up there and speak. It's just a really good use of my time. Like, how do I talk to everybody in the room? Because, like, that's my biggest regret to all these conferences. I can't talk to enough people. Sure. And, like, I can't keep it in my head, like, how many people I've spoken to, what we've talked about. After, like, 3 days, you know, you're just freaking drained, and you're like, I can't have any more conversations. So,
you know, your girlfriend just passed through a minute ago. And if I haven't met her and I don't have any way to access her, but if I would have known that there was the possibility that she could have come up behind you, I would have had her get in a unicorn suit or something and like, like come up behind you and, you know, I don't know, whatever, but it would have been fun.
They were saying, babe, that you walk through the screen and they really wanted you to show up in a unicorn costume just to mess with
or a shark, whatever fit the mood, you know. But just as an aside, I just had to mention that when she came through, I was thinking, man, it would have been a great idea to touch base with her and have her secretly, you know, plan to, you know, come up behind you in a suit and dance or something with some music on a pill or something. So anyway, speaking, what was your first speaking gig?
My very first one was when I was 15. I was a snowboard instructor, and basically what you had to do is spend, I don't know, like an hour to 90 minutes in front of 15 kids and keep them entertained and teach them. So it was like a really basic level speaking gig. From there, I kind of been doing it off and on for a long time. My next, like, professional one was when I first started as a marketer in social media. I was running workshops in a little small town. So I would host a workshop. I'd be like, it's $11 to show up or $10 or something like that, because just for anybody who's interested in ever hosting a workshop, you never want to make it free. You always want to charge something like $10 because you'll increase your attendance rate astronomically. I think if you do it free, 50% of the people drop off. You charge something like $10, you get an extra 30 or 40% of the people who say they want to come, just because, like, they're having to opt in a little bit, even though everybody can afford $10. So, like, my very first one, I put on a speaking gig like that. It was in a small restaurant. I got the restaurant to host the event and put up food for the free promotion, and I booked it out. We could only do like 30 people, but multiple days of 30 people, you know, definitely like nerve-wracking. And now I speak in front of 300 people and I'm like excited for it. So
yeah, that's awesome. And I know that that's the place where people in our space want to get. They want to be doing presentations, and you've definitely, you know, positioned yourself well because you're well, and it's also, you know, you've worked hard. I mean, you've got humor, you know, you're very intelligent. You know what you're doing. You and your girlfriend have a social media. I think it's an agency, right? So you've been doing this for a long time.
It's a consulting agency. So we don't do the work. We don't like make the posts for you, but I build the strategies because that's really what people need more than anything else. You can find some intern to build some social media posts.
Right. But you've been doing this for a long time. We haven't even touched on Snapchat, but I know you've got a Snapchat course. I don't know if you have any other courses quite like the Snapchat course. You know, it's been a while since I've looked at your courses, but the Snapchat course has been a good thing for you. And you've been doing Snapchat for a very long time. Hey, since we're even touching on Snapchat, are you still using it as heavily as you used to? And thank you for all the love for whoever's shouting us out on Facebook.
Thanks for the love, people. And no, I will be honest, I have not been using Snapchat as much. I probably should be. It's just it's an amazing platform. I'm just not really keen on what Snapchat has been doing for its users. There's a massive spam problem. Instagram's discoverability is amazing. And from just a business perspective, Facebook ads, hands down, are the absolute winner. So like, if you want to grow your business, it makes a lot more sense to really learn Facebook ads than it does Snapchat. If you're looking for creating interesting, engaging content and building really deep relationships, Snapchat, Instagram Live, or Instagram Stories, hands down the best, because you build relationships like this. Because I think we got connected through Snapchat.
We did
originally, right?
Oh, there she is. Look at it. Oh no, I just ruined the. Awesome.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You rock, man.
Tell her thank you. I'm glad that she showed up and did her moment there. That's.
Oh, no,
Come on in. You can join us.
I don't really want to, but you said the shark thing.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to have you with us tonight. Oh, we're getting tons of love. People like that you showed up on that. Look at all that love on the screen.
See, things go viral.
Feel free to introduce yourself. I'm sorry I don't remember your name, and we haven't met.
No worries. My name's Emelina Spinelli. I'm Austin's partner.
Well, welcome to the program, Todd.LIVE tonight, and thank you for that really made everybody happy because the love is just pouring out now. We might have to have you come back in a unicorn in a minute and see what that does.
Yes, get her into the costume.
Oh, this thing's really hot.
I know it is.
So, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
Well, it's awesome that you showed up. That only took you just a minute to put on. Do you have them all hanging up in one closet, all nicely ready to go?
Yep.
Awesome.
I kind of feel like the female in the relationship because my closet is packed.
With things like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put you all on the full screen because I didn't realize we were on the there you go. Now we can see both Emelina and Austin. Look at that costume, folks. Austin has made a major presence online using the costumes. Emelina, do you use the costumes as well on a regular basis, or is it mostly Austin?
This is the first time I've put it on.
Oh, nice. Have you put any of them on, or is that the first of all of them?
No, this is the first of all of them.
Well, congratulations on the Todd.LIVE show. I feel kind of honored.
You got a special moment.
It's a special moment, and people are going nuts. I've gotten more love off you showing up on that shark. And I've done probably 50 or 60 videos, and I've never gotten this kind of response to anything before.
Got your thumbnail here. You ready for this?
Shark.
We'll pose for the thumbnail. Go for the bite.
There you go. Oh, there we go.
For the thumbnail.
Awesome. We've got some people that showed up with us. Alex Young, he's saying hi.
Alex.
But lots of love coming through. Austin, I might have to make the show about her now all of a sudden with the shark cut. No, I'm kidding. She showed up with that.
Real quick, Alex, we are headed to New York soon. We need to get together when I shoot over to New York, buddy. Since he's here.
Yep. Hey, make it happen. And listen, Emelina, tell us, are you going to start putting on the costume more since you're getting a good reaction here? Let's see you in it more.
Yes. Can we please be shark buddies online?
I'm going to have to get a second shark outfit.
Or I'll be unicorn, you be shark. We could totally rock that.
So, Emelina, are you the photographer when Austin's out doing his skits?
I am. I'm not a professional photographer, but I do pretty good with the Instagram stuff, so.
Well, it's awesome. I love that you all do what you do. And it's obvious that the people do, because the amount of love coming through since you showed up on the screen. People like to have fun. We were talking about this before you came on. People like to have, and I'm sorry that I'm not switching it to where you can see me while I'm, normally if I'm talking, I like to be on the screen too, but I can't have both of you on the screen at the same time and me because of how wide the angle is. But people like to have fun. They like to have a good time. And it's obvious by the reaction of the crowd tonight. We've got 6 people on Facebook that are just blowing up the love button. So
That's funny.
So thank you so much for coming on with that. You're welcome. You're welcome to come back in another one before the show's over if you'd like.
Maybe I'll see. How long is this? An hour?
Yeah, roughly. You know, when it ends, it ends.
I just have to like.
Can I interview her real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Austin gone.
Do you like dressing up with this stuff? Like, isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like, isn't it like empowering? Like, you could fool around and feel confident. Like,
actually, it kind of is. I wouldn't normally do things like that.
But like now
it kind
you
of
want
just
to embody
channels
it,
it.
right?
Well, when you see the reactions of people, I imagine that's a big thing. When you see the reactions of people having fun with it, it overpowers any type of negativity that might come around from people that think you're being dorky or weird. That people just, you know, they're just smiling, having a good time. Maybe they get their camera out, whatever. Maybe they even dance with you. Have you had that happen, Austin? People that...
I have, and I've had that happen. I've had people come up and want to do selfies. And then there was one experience which was fantastic. I was in the shark costume, and we were down by the Santa Monica Pier, but like the below, doing some photo shoots and whatnot. And this girl came over, and she like said something, and I was like, oh yeah, come on over. And then I was like, actually, I think what I did is she said something to me like, oh my God, great costume, something like that. I hear that all the time. But there was a shot I really wanted to do. I was like, hey, can I use you for a photo shoot? And she was like, yeah, sure. What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do where it looks like I'm attacking you like she was doing with me. You know, and so we did some photo shoots where I was like, ah, and she was like, ah, and it was really funny. And then she was like, wait, I don't know if I can ask this, but can I try it on? And I was like, oh my God, yes, because how much more fun is that? Like, so that was really cool having people like just want to participate and do something fun and interesting. So
absolutely. Well, Anthony Davis is asking, what is your Instagram? And I told him it's AustinIuliano, just as it's spelled. I typed it into the box for anybody who wants to watch. And that's pretty much your name everywhere, right?
Yeah. AustinIuliano. And I have so much Instagram content I need to post, and I haven't posted. So we got to get on that.
Lots of shark photos.
Lots of shark and unicorn. Oh my God. So there's this thing called the Museum of Ice Cream. And can you describe what it is? Because you know.
It's a museum of ice cream.
Yeah.
It's like constant Instagram walls, like bright pink banana prints and wait, what else do they have?
Full of sprinkles.
Well, yeah. I saw you jump in a thing of sprinkles.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much fun.
Giant gummy bears.
Yeah. Awesome. Now you batch create, right? I mean, you go out and you do a day and you'll take 20, 30, 40 pieces of content and cut it up in various ways, right?
Yeah, and that's from like a social media creation perspective for something like this, it works really, really well because I mean, if I had to do this every single day, that would be impossible unless I was getting paid a lot of money to do it, which I'd love to do that. So going out there and just like the Museum of Ice Cream was the first time we did it. We spent 2-3 hours. And you gotta imagine 2-3 hours dressed up in this costume. I was sweating like crazy, and
actually, it's not really a museum of ice cream. It's like a museum of sugar.
Yeah, museum of sugar. So like 2-3 hours, we've got hundreds of photos and videos and like pieces of content that we can use. And like at the end, I'm completely drenched in sweat, like ready to be done. But you got tons of content for something like that. So like, yeah. To answer your question,
can you throw them in the washer? Or do they go to the dry cleaner? Neither. So
it literally says "do not wash" on it.
Yeah. So like my unicorn costume is a little bit gross. I'm not gonna lie, but like I can't wait till like Halloween gets a little bit closer and like I can reorder some costumes. I'll get like 4 of them and just be like, all right, cool, you know.
Well, you know what? You need to collaborate with the costume company and promote the shit out of them, and work out a deal on the costumes. Maybe you're getting them at cost. Maybe you're getting them free.
Yep. Oh, I know. I'm already in the process of that. I want myself some free costumes because.
All right, this is hot.
Yeah. All right.
Anthony, you have a new fan on. Hey, Emelina, thank you so much for coming on with the shark suit. Really, a lot of fun. We appreciate you doing that. The folks are really loving it. Austin got a new fan. Anthony Davis said he's following you on Instagram now. He's probably going to find you on other platforms. So I'm really happy that Anthony, and he's been shouting out lots of love here. So he's an active member of the audience.
Awesome.
Thanks, Anthony.
Austin's starting up a YouTube. It should be funny.
Awesome. We will highlight it when he does. Take care, Emelina. Thank you. Hopefully she goes and puts something else on. Okay, so that was awesome, dude. She's a keeper right there. What a nice time to have tonight, to have her come on and do this for the crowd, because this makes this the most colorful, lively broadcast I've done yet by far. So it really has been a pleasure. So what's in store? So you've got the YouTube coming up. Do you have any other courses that you're working on right now?
Yeah. So they're still in like the kind of development stage. We're working on an Instagram course because we didn't mention this, but Emelina is one of the top Instagram consultants out there. Like if you Google Instagram consultant, she's been featured in Entrepreneur and like a whole bunch of other things like Business Insider, and she knows Instagram extremely well. And on her website, there is a free training on Instagram on how to grow. And the free training is like 10 times better than you get buying an Instagram course. We have so many people be like, I bought courses on how to grow on Instagram and they don't teach me anything. Your free course is like 1,000,000 times better, because we shared everything, like how to make really good photos, how to like all the growth hacking strategies, how to like drive tons of traffic, just like all the stuff we know. And she's been doing tons and tons of consulting about Instagram. And I was like, babe, let's turn that into a course. I'm updating the Snapchat course to do full stories because it's not just Snapchat anymore. And there's also just I'm really, really, really trying to hammer in the Facebook, some of the cool Facebook strategies. Like I learned this amazing strategy from some of my marketer friends where you spend $1 a day and you drive traffic for PR and you get lots of features and things like that. So like all these weird things are going on in my head from a marketing perspective that I want to do. So yeah, I'm working on courses, but that's kind of become a side thing because I'm doing a lot of high-end consulting for clients, and that takes a lot more time.
So your clients, where are you finding them, or where are they finding you?
So to be frank, all my clients are coming from doing speaking engagements. It's a fantastic way to get clients as like a marketer, because you're up on stage, you're networking with everybody, and they come up and they're like, hey, I want to help you. So I'm doing tons of that to generate clients. Also through social media too, of course. Like people contact me and they say, hey, this is what we're looking to do. But the best paying clients have consistently come from speaking, which is crazy. and I didn't expect that in the least bit.
So what industries do you tend to find yourself working in with these clients? Are they, I mean, you know, like when I interviewed Justin Wu, he talked about working with car dealerships, and I think he had a kitchen counter and tile something. You know, he was finding clients in all sorts of interesting ways and in interesting industries. Is that the same for you, or are you finding kind of you're in maybe one industry?
No, it's definitely all industries. Like the interesting thing about marketing is it's all the same, no matter what industry you're in. It's not different. So I did a telecommunications company that predominantly was working with Native Americans, which was crazy because I was like, that is super niche. I'm in discussions with a not-for-profit that works with they have like 700 employees, 21 different like initiatives around the world. They work with one of the major organizations like World Health, World Food Bank, or something like that. I forget off the top of my head. And like, it's just all these random industries are coming together, and I'm loving it because it's interesting and creative. Like, I don't want to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I understand. And it'll give you a lot more experience working in different industries. If you're, I mean, different kinds of people, networking, communicating, and overall it just helps you help define your goals, your shtick, everything. I mean, it all works together. So it's a good experience. I mean, it's like Justin, when he told me he was doing, you know, he had a car dealership. I'm thinking, you don't think of car dealerships really being like, Justin's aggressive.
Yeah.
And he is very tech savvy, and you don't think of car dealerships as that, right? So it must be people who are very forward thinking who are calling out to him and saying, hey, we want to bring you on, or the kitchen and tile and that sort of, you know, they're really thinking ahead of their competitors and getting out of their comfort zone, because Justin's definitely somebody who's going to really push the limits on growth and engagement and all that.
Yo, Justin, hands down, one of the best like growth hacker, marketer, entrepreneurs out there. And I mean, I have what, 4 or 5 years on him in age, and like I've been doing this a long time, and I'm still learning things from him. So like, he is fantastic at what he does, and I cannot give enough props and love to him and his crew. So like,
well,
gotta follow him.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. I mean, I'm pushing 47, and here we've got a guy that's in his early 20s, and he's got the world on fire. And he is so amazing. He was a guest on Divorce the Workforce as well, and I've got to get him on.
I think I got you guys.
You did get us together. Yep. And I met him at Summit Live. He was only there briefly, but he's always on the go. And I figure that a good way to hang out with him will be to come to his own show. I don't think it's just his show. I think it's a collaboration of guys, right? But
no, it's him and 3 other growth hackers. And I've met most of them, and like I know their shtick. So like that's another reason why I didn't end up going, because I was like, oh, I've heard half of these guys give talks. I wanted to go, but they're all very smart at what they do. So I love it. I love hanging out with smart and interesting people who are way smarter than me. Like most of these people are. I just do stupid things online, and people seem to like it. So
yeah, and I saw that Vin Clancy was there, and Vin, the first time I didn't get a chance to meet him, but he came on stage at Summit Live, and he's very colorful and with his attire, and you know, it's like, okay, what's going on here? Who is this guy? I've never seen him before, and I thought he gave an absolutely amazing presentation. So you know, he's got my ear if I happen to catch him on stage or, you know, online, because he knows what he's talking about. And he's just very clever, but you know, I don't know if his attire and his style is part of the shtick, or if that's, you know, I don't know what it is, but you know, sometimes people show up on stage and you're like, what am I going to get here? And then they just blow you away. Like, I didn't see this coming.
Yep. Vin did a great job. I saw him with Justin the first time, and I actually stole from Vin one of his strategies for myself, because I was like, oh man, that's a fantastic strategy. It was a part of getting speaking gigs. I was like, let me just start doing this too. So I took that right off what he was doing. But fantastic information he has, tons of great tools. And yeah, his attire is 100% part of his shtick to draw attention. You know, his attire is really no different than me dressing up as a unicorn. Like, it grabs people's attention. You know, you got to do something to kind of break through the noise. And then if you have fantastic content behind it, great, you know?
Well, it's not the first time I've been to a conference where, you know, everything seemed to be kind of a norm. There was a kind of like, you know, everybody was conforming to a certain, you know, what the program was about. And then somebody kind of came on that was a little bit outlandish with, you know, how they talk or how they present what they're saying or their dress or their hair. And, you know, and the people that do that and back it up with just hitting it home run with every, you know, with every breath. I mean, it really is an interesting thing to watch. And I think Vin brought it. And I was really happy that I got to see him at Summit Live, and hopefully I'll be at the next, whatever they call it, Hacker Summit or Hacker Live, or I forget what they called it.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
So, you know what, I've been signing up for all these things. Do you do any podcasting at all aside from being a guest?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, Podcast Moving's coming up this week. I didn't think that you did. I feel like I remember we talked about you wanted to, but it was just one of those things that just didn't take precedence and kept getting kind of kicked down the road a little bit. But we got that. And then I don't think I have anything else for a while. I did sign up for Social Media Marketing World and Traffic and Conversion. So it looks like I'll spend a week in February in San Diego, which isn't a bad thing. Do you go to either one of those?
I haven't been to Social Media Marketing World. I actually want to speak there. So I need to get my applications in and speak at those events. And Traffic and what was the other
one? Traffic and Conversion.
That's who runs that?
Ryan Dice.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't been to that one, but I want to go to both of them. So I think I might this year or next year.
Yeah, it's February.
Yeah. So
and they both are like during the same week. But what's interesting is one ends on the 28th and one begins on the 28th. So it looks like there's a day of overlap, which I don't know you got to figure the traffic conversion guys know that Social Media Marketing World's going on and vice versa. So I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, is day 28 unimportant? I haven't figured this out yet, but I thought it was interesting that one ends and one begins on the same day in the same town.
Sure. Yeah, I think that whole world is super interesting, running those events. Like, I would love to like pick Ryan Dice's brain why he's doing it, because like theoretically, I don't think he needs to from a business perspective. So what value is he getting out of it other than hosting it as an authoritative thing, like building up authority? But I don't know. It's always interesting. Like, I'd have to spend $25,000 to join his war chest mastermind. I'm not about to do.
Yep. Hey, so let's talk about your Instagram account.
Sure.
Do you do many live, or is it mostly stories and just the static social on the front page kind of a thing?
I have done lives, but I did all my lives before you could save it as a thing, because I was really just checking it out when it was brand new. And I haven't really gotten into doing too many lives on Instagram stories since then, mostly because like I'm at this weird place where like I'm doing a ton of work in my foundation, setting up some new things. And then I have like a whole strategy to launch. So I'm just trying to build all that to like, then I'm just going to be posting a ton and doing lives and getting into that launch. But like, I haven't posted in months, and it's been driving me a little bit insane because like every day I'm just sitting behind this computer working. But yeah. Oh, there's that on the right, there's the me attacking the girl, I think, as the shark.
There you go.
Yeah, that was the photo. That was so much fun.
So was there a video behind this as well, or was just a photo for Instagram?
I think we have a video. I'm getting way more into video, especially pushing this YouTube. I have no skills at all when it comes to editing or shooting or any of those things. but with the amazing value that is the iPhone, we're getting some crazy cool shots.
Look at you. You're there with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. I met him the other day. That was really fun.
Where'd you meet him at? Oh, look at this one. It looks like you're wagging a unicorn tail or something.
I met Sylvester Stallone right by the Starbucks that I go to. I just happened to like look up and he was at the table next to me, and I was just like, hey, and said hi, and I was super awkward and weird because he was the first celebrity I ever really saw and knew. So
cool. Hey, I'm going to play this one. I think there's probably sound on this one that you and I can't hear, so I'm going to play it for the folks, and then it's you waking up to Darth Vader or something like that.
Me waking up doing a Chewbacca yawn. Yeah. A lot of these are just straight photos. I have a ton of videos on my Musical.ly, but this is mostly just some fun photos.
Folks, right there, you can see that's Austin's account. He's got 12,000 followers. He's, it's got links to his webpage and other information there, L.A. to New York. You've lived in both L.A. and New York. Which do you prefer?
I prefer the people and kind of like the atmosphere of New York. I prefer the weather of L.A., hands down.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, New York is interesting. It's just there's so many people all the time running as fast as they can in life that it just like pushes you to be a little more competitive, a little more hungry, a little more focused. And LA, I feel myself now slowing down, just like, oh, let's go to the park and look at the sun today. Let's relax. Let's, take a little time to spend a little more time thinking about what we're going to do. Whereas New York, it's just like jump 2 feet in.
Right. We've got a few more comments. Anthony Davis says, you and your girlfriend are inspirational to me, Austin. I think we might have mentioned that one already. And he also says, I help web series creators, any movie creators, podcasters, and people with indie projects through crowdfunding, find connections and resources they may need with my Facebook group. He put a link in there. So if anybody wants to check that out, that's Anthony Davis. Amy DeRitter, I don't know her. She might be a friend of yours. She says, hi, Austin. Alex Young is thumbs up to seeing Sly Stallone. And Amy also says she's in New York City as well. She's in the house out of New York.
Amy, when I hit up New York, we got to get together, grab a cup of coffee. And yeah, who was the other guy? Anthony?
Anthony Davis is the web series, the crowdfunding guy.
Anthony Davis, I can't wait to talk to you, man. I can't wait to see what you're doing. So
sounds to me, Anthony, like you need to private message Austin in Instagram, or if you're getting a private message from somebody who is new to your crowd, where you're going to see it. Do you want them to send you an email? Do you want them to reach you through Snapchat? Email is
by far the best way to get a hold of me. Like I get so many DMs in Instagram and Twitter now, especially because like my audience is very, very young now. It's like getting younger and younger through the Musical.ly, and they just nonstop hit me up. I try and get to all of them, but I lose too many DMs.
What's your preferred email?
AU at D as in David, the word science, SCIENCEINC.com, d.science.inc.com.
You know what? I think, if I'm not mistaken, that email was on your Instagram account, I think. Yep. So you can go to his Instagram account and you will find that email there. So It's there, folks. Austin, we've been on for about an hour. I'd love to talk more, but I know that you've got, you want to get rest. I've got to get rest. We all are working hard. Why don't you, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. I had a great time having you on tonight. This is like we talked about before, Seinfeld. It's kind of a show about nothing. But it goes in all sorts of interesting directions, and I think tonight we definitely did that. And one of the things I like to do is have recurring guests. So if you have anything that is going on in your life that you want people to know about, you want to get it out there, and you're going to be doing the circuit and talking on podcasts and things, by all means, hit me up and we'll get you right on the program and have you back, because I think you're a lot of fun. And Melina's a lot of fun. And she can join us as well. Maybe I'll be able to do a three screen at a point when you come back, but it's something I need to work on. But thank you so much for taking the time tonight to be here. And I want to close it out with, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you? I know we've kind of already talked about that, where they can email you, but
Sure.
we know you're AustinIuliano everywhere. Where do you want people to find you?
Anywhere that they want to, whatever platform is best for you, or AustinIuliano.com, or come say hi to me if you ever see me in person, because I really do like meeting you guys.
Folks, I can tell you this, I met Austin in person at Summit Live, and he is one of the most personable, fun people to hang out with. And we go from fun to serious, talking about business, back to fun, and you bounce back and forth very quickly sometimes with Austin, but it keeps a pace, and it's just different and unusual. And we just had a great time. He and I and Ross Brand went to lunch, had a great lunch. So if you're at, any of the social media conferences, anything, make sure you go up and talk to Austin, whether he's speaking or not. He's just an approachable guy, no matter what he's doing. I found a lot of people at Summit Live to be like that, but you and I'll tell you who stuck out for me was you and Chris Cuberness. I mean, both of you were just, and you've met Chris too.
Dude, meeting Chris Cubby at that event was like,
isn't that what
come true? Because like we've talked so much, and we were just like, it was like two old friends getting together. Same with like you and I, my friend, but like
Yeah.
Chris is from Denmark. So I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm never going to see you in person. And then like I met him, and we looked at each other, and it was just like big manly bear hugs going back and forth. I was like, oh, so good.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. And he's just one of those people, folks, if you want to follow somebody else as well, Chris Cuberness, he's out of Denmark. I think he's a Canadian originally, but he's kind of like a Gary Vaynerchuk in a way, with the kind of posts that he puts on Instagram. Very inspirational, very good, very direct to the point, packs a punch, all that. But tonight it's about AustinIuliano and Emelina. I don't know her last name, but man, I'm so glad you guys came on, and I'm so glad she put on the suit.
Her name is Emelina Spinelli. If you want to find her on Instagram, it's ECSPINELLI. She does some cool things on there, in my opinion, but
I'll look her up. I don't know if I'm following her, but I'll find her as well. Hey, Austin, thank you so much, and feel free to stick around as I shut down the program. Folks, tomorrow night, I did have a guest on. He agreed to be bumped to next week. I was surprised tonight at about 6 o'clock, 6:30 with Angels tickets for tomorrow. I'm not an Angels fan, but I don't pass on free tickets, and they gave me 4 of them. So tomorrow night, there will not be a live stream live. I got to get used to saying live stream live instead of live stream live. But there will not be one tomorrow. I will return on Wednesday. And as you know, you won't know who the guest is until you show up and join us. So thank you again, Austin. Take care. And folks, I'm going to close you all out. See you next time. Thank you for joining us. And thank you
for having me, man.
Hey, I loved it. Anytime.
And congrats on the Angels tickets. That should be super fun.
I'll tell you, I'm not an Angels fan, but